Now that the Nintendo Switch 2 was announced, it means that the Switch's life cycle is finally coming to an end. So that's why today I'll be showing you my top 5 favorite Switch games of all time. Without further ado, let's get started. Now, I'll start out this list by talking about one of my favorite 2D platformers of all time, which is Super Mario Wonder. First of all, I do love the graphic of this game. It is so really vibrant, really colorful, and really expressive. That's why I really like it. It may be a bit childish, but this is my style, and I do really like it to be this way. Also, I feel like everything in this game is taken care of so well. Even the backgrounds look good, the obstacles look good, and yeah, the foes and the main characters in this game look just awesome. Now let's talk about the most innovative thing about this game, which are wonder flowers. Each level has got a wonder flower, and you may wonder what this wonder flower does. Well, a wonder flower completely changes the course of a level. You can go from normal, simple platforming to now transforming into a round hippo that goes into space, or now turning from a small Mario into a really big Mario that can now be really easily attacked by normal foes like Goombas. Also, another wonder flower I did like was when you are transforming to a spiky ball, and now your goal is now to reach the end of the level in under 200 seconds. I think I did actually really like that one. Another thing I do like about Super Mario Wonder is the soundtrack. It ain't the best, but I do actually really like it because it is combined really well with the level itself, and yeah, it is really pleasing to listen to. Alright? Now let's talk about the things that I don't like about Super Mario Wonder. Well, I didn't like the boss battles because most of them featured Bowser Jr. and he mostly did the same things over and over again, but in a different background. The background did affect the level a bit, but not by much, and yeah, I would have enjoyed to have more great boss battles. But the final one was great though, it's worth it. The game that I'm going to talk about now is by far the most underrated on this list. It is Super Mario RPG Remake. First of all, this game was originally launched on SNES in 1991, but it sold really poorly, around 2 million copies, and it was remade on Switch in the year 2023, and it sold 3.3 million units. It didn't do really that well, but yeah, overall, it was alright. But why do I consider it to be underrated? Because this game is just nearly close to perfection in my opinion. First of all, I'll talk about the stuff that is unique about this game. Well, the story in the first place is different. It ain't your typical Mario story in which Peach gets captured by Bowser, and Mario comes to save her. No, in this game, the story is about Smithy that goes into Mario's world and does now a lot of bad stuff, right? He now takes control of Bowser's castle, harasses the environment and the people from the environment, and yeah, he does a lot of bad stuff. And now Mario and his friends are coming to stop him. This game has also got a nice graphic because it is really vibrant, colorful, and expressive. Also, the soundtrack in this game is nice, but it ain't the best, and yeah, I think it could have been better. Now, let's talk about my favorite thing about this game, which is the gameplay, which in my opinion is really rewarding. It may be from the fact that you have to time button presses really well to make your attack deal more damage or parry someone's other attack, or also from the fact that you can go from a really bad position into a great one in just a couple of moves, because you can use some items or special abilities that are attributed to some characters. And yeah, this can change the course of a battle in just a couple of moves, and I consider this to be so great, and it comes in handy mostly all of the time. And yeah, that's it for this game. Let's move on. The game that I'm going to talk about now is Luigi's Mansion 3. Luigi's Mansion 3 is an action-adventure puzzle game that takes place in a hotel where Mario, Luigi, Princess Peach, and a few toads were invited to spend their holiday. But it turns out that this is a trap designed by King Boo to capture Mario and his loved ones. Luckily, only Mario, Peach, and the toads end up getting captured, while Luigi manages to escape King Boo's attack. Now, Luigi desperately wants to save his friends, so that's why he goes on a journey to save them and destroy King Boo. The gameplay in Luigi's Mansion 3 is really fun and creative, because you usually have to solve really interesting but weird puzzles to progress further. Also, the exploration in this game is awesome, because you'll never expect what type of floor you're going to go on to next, or what type of ghost is hiding around the corner. The soundtrack in this game goes perfectly with its environment. That's why sometimes I'm a bit worried about what enemy I'm going to face next or simply exploring further. Now, let's talk about the graphics. The art style in this game is my favorite of all time because everything simply looks so good, colorful, and expressive that I'll even go as far to say that Luigi's Mansion 3's graphics are the best on Switch. Of course, this is my opinion, but you simply can't deny that this game looks great. Another thing I love about Luigi's Mansion 3 are the boss battles. Every single one of them is created with so much attention to detail. Also, they don't feel repetitive, because every one of them is based around a different concept. Let me give you a short recap. So this game has a decent story, excellent graphics and soundtrack, really creative and fun boss battles, cool puzzles scattered all around the hotel, plenty of stuff to explore, and controls extremely well. I simply can't find anything that I dislike about this game. And now you may wonder why isn't Luigi's Mansion 3 my favorite game on Switch? And the answer is that the next two games on the list simply blew me away. The game that I'm going to now talk about is really controversial. You either love it or you either hate it. In my opinion, it is great, but you may hate it actually. This game is Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. First of all, I do actually think that it did improve a lot from Breath of the Wild, but yeah, some things could have been changed, alright? I don't think it's as much innovation as it could have been. But now, let's talk about the stuff that they did right. Well, they changed the old abilities from the last game that simply weren't the best. And now they added some really nice ones, like Ultra Hand, Fuse, and Ascent. My favorite one is Ascent. You may wonder why Ascent does. Well, it lets you travel to the ceiling. So, for example, let's say that you are in a cave and that to get back to the surface, you can just go under the ceiling and yeah, go through the ceiling and reach the surface. It is that easy. And also, it is really fun, but it is a bit niched, but yeah, I love it actually. Also, Ultra Hand is much more useful than the ability from the last game that only lets you pick up metal items. In this game, you can pick up mostly any item you want, and with Fuse, you can stick it to another. You can stick it to a weapon, for example. Now, your weapon will deal more damage, or you can make your weapon have a special ability like freezing, air, or throwing fire, or shocking someone. Yeah, that's great. Alright, another thing I did also like about Tears of the Kingdom was the fact that it added new pieces of land. It added the depths and the Sky Islands. I'll start out with the Sky Islands, which in my opinion are a missed opportunity. Because the only time when you are going to spend more than a couple of hours on them is the tutorial, which in my opinion is much better than the one from Breath of the Wild. And yeah, it is actually a really good tutorial. The Sky Islands from the tutorial were actually really fun, and I had a blast playing on them, right? But after you finish it, you're only going to go on them for like only a couple more hours and to collect some special items that you need later on in the game, and that's it for the most part. And the same goes for the depths. It is quite a missed opportunity because you've got some. It is nice to explore it, and you've got some really nice boss battles into it to challenge you. Even the final boss is there, but yeah, I don't feel as attracted to explore it as I should have been, and that's it. Also, I did also like the fact that in Tears of the Kingdom now the Hyrule is more full with things to do. So in Breath of the Wild, it was more like it was more like an empty place, alright? But here in Tears of the Kingdom, you always have to do something, and yeah, that's why in Breath of the Wild I spent 65 hours, and in Tears of the Kingdom I spent 92 hours playing it. Yeah, it is. You have a lot more stuff to do in it. And yeah, that's it for the most part. Super Mario Odyssey isn't just my favorite Switch game, it's actually my favorite game of all time. Now, you may wonder why I love it so much. Well, Super Mario Odyssey is just perfect, in my opinion. Everything starts out with the graphic, which is one of the best on Switch actually, because it is everything that I'm looking for. The graphic is done in a childish manner, the colors are vibrant, and everything is full of color. Every character design is greatly detailed and simply looks awesome. Also, the backgrounds look great, and mostly anything looks great in this game. I simply can't find something that simply looks unpleasing. Also, the soundtrack in this game, I enjoy it. It's good. It's not perfect, but yeah, it's a really good soundtrack actually. And my favorite thing about this game is the fact that you can capture your enemies. Something that sounds so simple, but it is so innovative. I always wonder what it would be like to play as a Goomba, or play as a Koopa Troopa, or play as new enemies added in this game, like the T-Rex, the frog, or there was also like a seed that grew up like this when you shake your controller, and yeah, I did actually really like that one. And also there was also a bird that it pokes, and yeah, that was also great. Yeah, so these captures are just awesome. They're incredible, and combined with the kingdoms or Super Mario Odyssey, they simply create a perfect game. All right, so now let me tell you my favorite kingdoms. So first of all, I did love the Sand Kingdom. It's actually my favorite of them all because because it is really big and you have plenty of stuff to do in there. There were some really nice stars that there are even quite challenging to collect. But my favorite one was with the pyramid, that you had to explore, and on the top of it you had to face Harriet in a battle. That boss battle was actually, I think it was the best from the Rabbids boss battles. That also contributed to this high rating of the Sand Kingdom on my list. Another another moon, sorry, I enjoyed collecting was the one with the Moai habitat, in which you had to go on that invisible platform and go collect the moon shards, and after you collected five of them, you got yourself a moon. Yeah, that was also really nice. There are plenty of great moons in this kingdom. Another kingdom that I also enjoyed was the Lost Kingdom. It is actually really unique compared to the others, because here Mario and Cappy get stuck on this island because the Odyssey broke, and now they have to collect a few moons to make it function again. And yeah, it is actually a great kingdom because it is a twist. All right, so it ain't your typical kingdom, and now you have some really interesting enemies in here, some great moons to collect, and also I do also really like the fact that this kingdom is a bit tinier and you don't have that much place to explore, and that makes it so nice because you then discover that it is filled with things to explore and moons to collect, and that's why I do actually like it so much. Yeah, I did also like the boss battles in this game, and yeah, they were actually awesome. Most of them, they were a bit easier in the first half of the game, but after that I found them to be great, especially the final boss. That was incredible final boss. Believe me, it's worth playing through the whole game just to reach the final boss. It is perfection, simply perfection. Now, I'll tell you my only single complaint about this game. The fact that some moons are simply too easy to get, and I would like them to be harder to achieve. But yeah, some people may find this better, because if you're stuck on a kingdom and need, for example, 10 power moons, and you only manage to collect 8 to the main story, and cannot collect another 2 from a harder challenge, you can just find 2 simple power moons laying around the ground, and yeah, go further on. And yeah, that's my single complaint about this game. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate if you could like, subscribe, and share this video. That would be awesome. And also, if you want to, I would be really grateful if you could leave me some feedback in the comments, because I'm a really small YouTuber who desperately needs to improve his videos, and that would really help me out. I was David. Bye.